Welcome back again. This episode, we're going to talk about it's a little bit technical for the viewers. It's about whoever working in the corporate life, about the individual contributor versus manager. That's why we thought we're going to have a conversation with someone expert from that industry, have already worked over there almost a decade. And there we go, Sagar.
Hello. Hi, Krishan. Hello. Thanks for having me.
So Saga has worked in the IT industry for almost 10 years as an individual contributor as well as in the as a manager role now. So Saga, mental peace किस में जाता है? अभी you worked on both the things. Let's start with something called mental peace because that's what matters the
Okay.
most.
Sure. I have a different take, Krishan. What I would say is if you are IC and your manager is good, then you have mental peace. And if you are a manager and if you have a good team, you still have mental peace. It's up to you and it's up to the people you work. Yeah, mental peace is, I would say, more related to how you take it, not like it is very much subjective. Not if you are IC you will always have mental peace, or if you are a manager you would always have a mental peace. It's more upon how you deal with it, how what kind of people you work with, and what kind of personality you are,
Hmm.
what kind of things you like to do, where you are in your career. So all those things matter, I would say.
When let's talk about obviously बोला जैसे कि आपने दोनों में कंट्रीब्यूट किया है आईसी में भी और नाउ एज अ मैनेजर पोजीशन तो जो पॉइंट ऑफ रिफ्लेक्शन है आपके लिए दोनों में क्या था जब आपने सोचा कि
Okay,
मैं इस पाथ की तरफ जाता हूँ मैनेजर पाथ की
sure. To answer this question, maybe we'll go back to when I started my job. I was very much interested in teaching or mentoring others. Whenever I got opportunity, I would share my experience, whatever skill I had with others. That's where it all started. That I would, I used to love to mentor others, help others, guide others in whatever in my best capacity I could. So that's where that started. And then came a point in my career. Obviously, I developed my technical skills, and there came a point when I thought, okay, now I would like to explore the other side as well, because everyone starts as an IC. We cannot start as a manager for
Right.
obvious reasons. We have to manage ourselves. That we are manager of ourselves. That would be the first thing to do. And then, yeah, as I said, there came a point where I thought, okay, I would like to see how would I do if I become a manager, having that title. So that's where I would say around 6 years of experience. When I had 6 years of experience, 6 to 7 years of experience, having done a lot of technical stuff in small companies, startups, big MNCs, mid-sized, good product-based company. And then I thought, okay, now let's give it a shot. Let's see how it goes. Leading a team, leading a project, becoming manager, managing people.
All right.
So
We will
that was
go
the
in
point for
that
me.
segment also. How's your experience, working in different firms with big MNCs to startups? Because you had a wide range of experience working in different firms. What's satisfaction wise, if I ask, what's more satisfaction wise, IC or the manager? How you think now?
Sure. Maybe to understand that, maybe we can drill down into what kind of things IC do, or what kind of challenges are there for a manager. Maybe we can discuss that first. Then we can go to
Yep.
the satisfaction level, I would say. So IC obviously individual contributor. So you are like, by the definition, if we go, you are responsible for your own, or for your own work. Manager, you are responsible for your team's work. That's what definition says. But I would say no software is built by a single person until now,
Mm.
and hopefully it won't be that even with the AI. We need to have team. We need to have different skill set. We need to have different people, and the challenges, or I would say the scope. What IC does is more related to technical, and you have given based on your experience level. Obviously, if you're a junior you will be given the task. If you are mid
Yes.
level you will be given to work on some module, even do some design. If you're a senior then you might be given a complete project to drive from architecture and everything, and then work on the technical aspects of that. And if you are even senior than that, then maybe architecting the complete application, or a complete bunch of applications. And when you talk about manager, obviously it starts have with assuming that you have worked little bit not little bit, I would say you have worked as a IC before going into that path. And what I have seen at least is that people obviously become managers even after 2 years of experience. But what I think is 3 to 4 years would be a good thing to do, because you should have at least experience as a mid-level IC. That I would prefer. That would be the thing. And
When
as a manager, obviously your scope changes a lot. You need to be responsible for your team's work, not just your own work. That is the biggest shift. You need to take a step back and let the others work. And I would say what I heard from the seniors of from the managers whom I worked, they used to say that you need to enable others, enable your team. And I didn't understand that for quite some time. And maybe now I'm getting to understand. Maybe we can discuss that in the later part, what exactly we
mm,
mean when we say we need to enable others. And that's part of a senior IC as well. When you become a principal engineer or a software architect, then
mm,
also this enabling others concept of this comes there as well.
all right. So we will go through this segment. First, let's talk about what are the real triggers. आपको कब लगा कि मैं अब IC बनने I got those, you know.
So as I said, I was always mentoring the juniors who would join the company. I got lucky in that sense that in my first company only I got the chance, and we worked together in that
Yeah.
company as well. It was a good opportunity for me. And as I said, that mentoring or helping others was there, and I thought that obviously will be helpful in becoming a manager.
Mm,
And that's when, as I said, after gaining some experience, 5 6 years of experience as IC, I thought now I need to see how I can enable others, how I can manage people, because as we say, management or a engineering manager is all about handling the people management, process management, all
right.
those things come into the picture. Project management, some part of that,
Mm.
and obviously on top of the technical skills have to be the base. So that's when I thought, yeah.
So something like there's a line which most of the people say बोलते हैं, you know, in tech, especially coming from managerial side, and that it's not difficult to, you know, manage the technology. It's difficult to manage the people. So how are you feeling that now as a manager?
Yeah, so my journey, I would say, is a little bit, you can say, to and fro, because I was IC obviously, then I became manager, then I came back to IC role in one of the big tech firms, and then again now I'm
Mm,
working as a manager slash principal engineer in both roles
mm.
in my current startup where I'm working. So,
So
so what?
one more thing I want to ask over here, you know, आपने बोला कि आप जब आईसी थे तो मैन आप उस चीजों को तब समझने की कोशिश करते थे कि हाउ टू empower the others when manager used to say. Now there is a thing which many of the managers says to the ICs and ICs knows that increase your visibility. Now, what do you mean by that? Now you're being manager, you being IC before, increase your visibility. How is the visibility being different in IC and manager, and how a IC can, you know, increase his or her visibility?
Sure. Sure, yeah. So visibility is not, I mean, I would say it's a multi-dimensional concept. That's what I would say. Visibility can be anything. It could be for a fresher who has just passed out of college, and let's say that person has not done anything extraordinary, just a normal person. He has not worked on very big projects or anything like that. So visibility for that person would be first to understand what exactly are the nitty-gritties of the industry, how exactly things goes. That is also visibility in terms of process.
Okay.
When you gain some experience, then visibility in terms of, I would say, technology. Let's say gain visibility on what kind of technologies are there around the globe in the industry, and obviously what kind of technologies are being used in your company, in your project. And then the things goes on like that. Like when you become senior, it would be visibility in terms of architecture, visibility in terms of technology, everything. And for manager, visibility in terms of, I would say, projects, what kind of projects are being done in your org or in your company, in your enterprise, whatever we want to call it. And then visibility in terms of people in terms of what, not just people in your team, but other people as well who can add up to your, add more value to your team. Hiring, obviously, that's also, I would say, part of the visibility factor for me.
So now you have team, so somebody who is IC and mid level, जो कि push कर रहे हो अपने आप को within their team or broader teams, वो क्या ऐसा करें कि the management notice them.
Okay, sure. So for a mid-level, let's consider someone who has worked like 3-4 years,
Right.
some anywhere around 6-7 years of experience, and they are working on some their tech stack. For them, what is the next step they want to take?
Hmm.
Either they can go into the IC path, or they can go into the managerial path. Depending on that, let's say okay, they want to continue with the IC path. For them, what will be the visibility in terms of what kind of, first they need to understand what they want to work on. That is
Hmm.
most important because people don't know that, and for
Right.
that obviously you have to do some try different things, and then only you can get to know.
Hmm.
Then once you know, visibility in terms of what kind of other opportunities are there in your own project or in your own like manager's team. Like there could be multiple projects working on, what kind of visibility for that person could be, that what kind of other projects or other technologies your org or your entire company is working on, and what would be interesting for you. So knowing that is also, I would say, a visibility factor, right? Because that person needs to know
Hmm.
in depth. Obviously, if something is being, let's take an example. If someone is working on APIs,
Right.
and they want to know, okay, some backend system is being developed by some other team.
Hmm.
If they're interested, they want to grow, they need to have build that visibility in the other team
Hmm.
projects as well. If someone is building a pipeline, a
Right.
data pipeline,
Hmm.
so what exactly is going into that, learning about that, who are working, talk to
Hmm.
them, all those kinds of things would be
Hmm.
important for that person to know, to have visibility of what kind of other things are going around in your, in other projects, in other teams. And then second is obviously industry wide. Let's say now Gen AI obviously
Yeah.
is something everyone wants to have visibility around Gen AI.
Hmm.
So that is also visibility
Hmm.
for anyone.
One thing I want to ask, that's another wide question of many folks around. जब एक आईसी करियर में, तो उसके लिए अंडरस्टैंड करना the business needs. Obviously, suppose somebody is 2 years of experience or 3 years of experience, how that can influence their job to understand the business of their company. Because many
Okay.
people say that that's
Mhm.
really good to get. Obviously, you do not get everything understand. आप सब नहीं जान पाओगे, but कितना वो हेल्प करता है आपको एज अ ग्रो करने में एक आईसी.
Yes. So not just for IC, that is important for manager as I would say that is important for everyone. As you grow in your role in any field, IC or manager, it is important to understand what kind of business your company is into. Obviously, that's how you are getting paid. So how you can improve that, and for improving that, you need to know what exactly is the actual core fundamental business of the company, the domain which you are working on, or the business model. If you need to know that, then obviously some part of it you need to know. That has to be, that understanding needs to be there. Because I'll give an example. Let's say if you are pure technical guy, let's say you say I don't care about, I don't, I would not say care, but yeah, if let's say if some person is a
Not that
highly
much
technical guy
interest.
and not that interested in
Yeah.
business perspective, and then some, and that person becomes, let's say, an architect, and let's say the company is in healthcare. So if you are building on some solution, if you're not aware of healthcare related things, if you're not related about how your company works, how your business earns money, and then you are asked to build or develop some application, then how will you understand like what kind of other systems that your application which you're building needs to talk to, what kind of users you will be having, all those kind of things, what will be the business impact of your application, because you can spend like 1,000 man hours on an application which only two people will use. Does
Right.
it make sense? So for all these kind of things, when you grow in your career, you need to think about, as they say, right, like non-functional requirements are more important for like architects and the senior folks than the functional requirement.
Right.
So I would say these kind of requirements, the product requirements are also important, and to understand that, we need to have that business or the product mindset. That is very important.
Okay, so that's one of your advice, people who are initially in their career, so that whatever sector or domain they are working, ki business sector ko bhi try to not have some understanding of that, which
Yes,
company they are working
definitely. Someone that will definitely help. That's what I would say. If you
for.
are working, let's say, on a HRMS system, try
Hmm.
to understand, because ultimately people will be using, and by selling that your company, or you will be earning profits. So you need to understand how can we increase the profit.
As a IC, आपका दिन कैसा रहता था, और as a manager आपका how the day goes as
Okay.
IC and as a manager?
Sure. So as an IC, obviously, when I was in initial years of my career, it would start with talking with the team, having the initial all the agile scrum related activities, having daily stand up, understanding my task, then working on that, and then the regular things. And as I grew in my career, then obviously responsibilities started to increase in terms of not just code, but then design, then high level design, also architecture, or multiple projects at a time, working on multiple projects at the same time, working with multiple teams, all those things, mentoring others, those kind of things would be part of activities. Even sometimes some other team would pull for some ad hoc consulting, like if they need some advice on, let's say, cloud or whatever, where I can help. So they would call. So those kind of things also started happening. And joining the meetings with manager where we would be having our product roadmap discussions and those kind of things. So when you grow as an IC, obviously once you go more towards principal engineer or architect, those kind of roles, then obviously these kind of things tend to happen, that you need to be more involved in the meetings where you need to decide the roadmap for product from the technical point of view, what is feasible, what is not feasible, because you will be the person whom the stakeholders will be asking the question. So you need to be prepared for those kind of things. So you need to, as I said, it's kind of a crossover once you pass some stage, because if some senior IC, principal engineer or architect, or even whatever is the designation after that, distinguished engineer, that person needs to also know the people's strengths and weaknesses, what kind of teams you are working with, so that you can assign the projects to them. And as a manager, I would say initially, obviously, it was overwhelming where people would come and they would tell their problems, that if this is not happening in the project, and it was usually around that. And whenever someone would come and ask, okay, this is the technical challenge I am facing, so I would go on a call and help them with their technical issues. So that was obviously not the best thing to do always. Obviously, sometimes you need to do. And nowadays, it's obviously more related to the product related things, whatever we need to build from the roadmap. Doing currently, my role is mixed. It's not pure manager. I am obviously involved in the architecture and DevOps related things, actual development, all those things. And one point, as we discussed about enabling, so that I would like now maybe we can touch upon that, and I can give some details on that. Like enabling as a senior IC or as a manager, mistake which many of the managers or senior ICs would do is, if someone is asking them something, they go hands on, full on. That's not what you need to do. Your role as a manager or as a senior IC would be more of enabling others, so that how fast they can learn and they can do those things on their own. I'll give example. When I started working here, initially there were a lot of freshers and people who didn't have experience with a lot of tech stack which we use. Then one option, like there could be two things. Like every time someone asks question, I help them sort out, and then I can go on with my work and they can continue with the development. But the problem with that would be, I will be always busy in doing the same thing every time, and they will not learn, they will not grow. As someone who is in a management position or a senior IC, whatever you want to call it up. So your role is not to do their job. Your role is to enable them. My approach was to, okay, do where perform the steps whatever are needed, help them, but enable them, like teach them or guide them, whatever it could be. Sometimes teaching, it could be sometimes guiding, it could be sometimes just giving a link and asking them to read from them. Enable them. And now when I reflect back on that, after 1 year or 1.5 year after I joined this company, now those folks, everyone is not asking those questions again. Your job as a manager is that the same question, everyone doesn't ask the same question again and again. If they ask, obviously we are there to help them. But enabling, this is what enabling means to me, that I don't have to answer the same questions even after 1 year. There has to be new challenges for them as well as for me.
One more question. Suppose somebody get into a managerial position just now. They started their career as a manager. They were IC, now they're manager, but they're very early, like just got promoted. So how you resolve the people's issue? There might be conflicts you have come across. So conflicts with them, there might be low performers, how you deal with them. So what's your process basically?
Okay, so for low performer, I would say there could be multiple reasons because of that. There could be sometimes you need to talk to them about if there is any personal problem going on with their family. You need to be that uh, kind of
Human
for
approach.
that moment. You need to be that friend with them.
Yes.
If there is some other issue happening in the project, this happened with me as well. One of my team members was facing some issues with the project, and there was some not so good things happening there in the project. And then when we when I tried to understand, okay, what exactly is happening, and then I thought that this person definitely needs to be given another chance, because sometimes the project and the person is not matching. So that person went to another project, and there obviously that person performed very well. And that's what you want, right? You want everyone to succeed. So low performer, and sometimes there could be genuine low performers. So sometimes there you need to take the hard call because of the whatever. Like, you cannot have one, I won't call bad person, but not so compatible person with that team, which can pull the complete team or complete project or complete company down.
All right, I think now we are going to the last segment, which I would say कि मैं आपसे पूछना चाहूंगा कि advices हैं as a manager, people who are trying to get into the tech from the hiring perspective as well, कि वो ज़्यादा focus करें, because obviously now as your managerial position you have your own team, you hire different people from different backgrounds and different geological areas. So क्या आपकी एडवाइस है कि जो टेक में सपोज who started into tech और नॉन टेक भी हो, तो couple of advices क्या रहेंगे उनके लिए?
Okay. One definitely is, don't go too fancy on your resume or on your skill set. No need to mention 100 skills and knowing only one out of them or two. Be genuine. That's the first advice, and don't try to show off too much. That is definitely one thing, because at least for me personally, what I see is the attitude. If you lack a skill, you can learn the skill. With
Right.
ChatGPT and GenAI, it's hardly matter of weeks. I mean, basic skills definitely. So one, definitely don't be very fancy. Don't show off too much.
Right.
And second is obviously focus on basics. Even if ChatGPT is there, still I think the basics or the core fundamentals are same. So that is the second thing I would say. Don't miss that.
All right. Now there's a fun segment which we call rapid fire with the guest. So
Okay.
we will do that. So in your journey, in last 1 decade of your journey as a technical expert or being in the IT industry, worked in different forms, either the big firms like biggest MNC of the world to fastest growing startups. What were your recommended books or podcasts you always, or even the blog post you always go through, like जो आप जाना हमेशा पसंद?
So there are lots of blogs and videos, obviously, but I'll stick to three. One, YouTube related things. There are a lot of good content. Obviously, a lot of people know about good
Yes.
content, but one of that is a series from AWS. That's My Architecture, if the name is correct, where they have 5 to 10 minutes of video where big companies come and show what they're doing with AWS. That's very interesting. Book, I would say, The Staff Engineer Path
Okay.
by Tanya Riley. So that's very good. And blog, obviously, the Pragmatic Engineer. I think that's the best blog. Most of the people might always already know about that.
Do you also read non-tech stuff anytime?
Yeah, I read non-tech stuff as well. So maybe that's for another talk.
So another question, when you were an IC and now you're manager, what was that green flag manager trait IC want to see, and what's IC manager want to see in IC? What?
Okay,
Yeah.
that's interesting question. So when I was IC, what I would want is that a couple of things I would say. One is clarity of my role, of my obviously no manager can give 100% of clarity of projects, of path, everything, but at least have that. If manager gives you clarity of whatever length that manager can give, and be genuine about that, that's what I used to want as an IC. That's what I would say. And the second is obviously trust. So
Right.
if my manager trusts me, if the manager has given me a task, then there has to be a trust, and obviously it's two-way. So I need to work on that so that I can build the trust.
Mm.
And as a manager, what I look into the IC is one, as I said, attitude. That is very important for me. If attitude is good, you can mix into the team culture. That's one of the most important thing. And second is what is your, and I'm not sure if that term is correct, but your learnability,
Mm.
how you can learn,
Your zeal to
how
learn, like.
you can adapt.
Mm.
Adaptability, I would say more, because there are very various projects. So how well you can adapt, learn and adapt to
Mm.
different techs, different processes, different things.
And one IC superpower you respect the most?
Superpower. Okay. Getting things done. Nothing overpowers that. As an IC, as a manager, wherever you are, even for CEO, that is what the board expects. Or getting things done. Nothing is more important than that.
One mistake newcomers repeat in your prospect. If
Newcomers in the industry or new managers?
one mistake newcomers repeat when you hire someone, you see that everyone is doing that thing almost.
Okay, everyone. So I would say there are two parts to the confidence. I would say some are over, some are under.
Oh, okay.
So that is not a mistake, but yeah, that happens. So
Mm.
that I mean, if you are not willing to change that, or if you're not willing to work on that, then that's a mistake. But some are overconfident, so you need to taper down and understand the reality. And if you're underconfident, then I mean, as a manager, we need to push them and make sure they know what their strengths are and they perform to that. And if they're not, I mean, if in both the cases, if the person is not doing the justice, then obviously that's a mistake, even after someone has pointed that multiple times.
So, one meetings which you want to delete from your calendar.
One meeting which I want to delete from my calendar. So now I'm working in a startup. So whatever meetings are there, those are important. So I
Uh,
would say any meeting.
so,
We don't have. I mean, we don't have meeting which is not needed.
I think that might be the case when you're working in the big e-commerce firms and MNCs. Those are the things.
Yeah.
Hmm. All right. I think thank you, Sagar. It's always good to talk to you, get to know so many things. Always, even while working along with you or learning from you or working under your leadership long back, it's almost going to be decade now. But I enjoyed that, even this talk as well. Everyone wants to ask Saga anything else, or we want to make us, content on anything else, which you have questions, comments, please do let us know so that we can make the content for you on that as well and come with some clear answers. But yeah, again, thank you, Saga, for giving all that
Thanks, Krishan,
IC
for
and a managerial
Thanks,
point
Krishan,
of view.
for having me, and obviously having seen your journey up close. So that's kind of inspiring for a lot of people who are coming from not computer science background, non-technical background, coming in and obviously making a mark, having your poster on Wall Street. So that's obviously, I think you should be guest on some big podcast next. So
that that
thanks for
that
having.
that's why we always should have mentor like Sagar, always have in our life. That's why I always say it's always there's a book called by Dean Heath, Decisive. Whenever you do not able to want to go on a longer path, always try to see people who have achieved it before. It makes that path easier. So thank you again, Sagar. We'll see in upcoming episodes and we'll talk to you over there.
Thank you.
Please
Thanks. Thank
like,
you.
subscribe, and comment anything you want to have.
Yes.
All right. Take care. Bye
Thank
bye.
you.